Good morning, friends. My name is host Eric. I want to welcome you to an episode filled with metaphysical volcanism. My mouth is a volcano, and what comes spewing out of it is molten hot magma spilling down the sides of your mountain, creating new land as it goes into the ocean. Yeah, so it's a pretty exciting episode. If you like volcanic eruptions, this is the metaphysical equivalent of it. It's a massive eruption of volcanism, just magma spilling all over your face in every direction. Let me tell you, magma's hot. Hi, Eileen. We were just asking about you yesterday. We were wondering, where's Eileen been? Nice to see you back. Hi, Jeebus. Okay, Lord Furno, I can tell you're a professional volcanist. You understand this science very well. Now, granted, I gave kind of a simplistic explanation at first. Technically, you're correct. Technically, the thoughts are the magma and the words of the lava flow. Correct, because once the magma leaves the volcano, it becomes renamed lava, even if it's still molten. And you know what? You can keep lava molten for quite a long time. This cup right now is actually filled with molten lava. I'm drinking instead of coffee this morning. That's hot, let me tell you. That will burn your mouth if you're not careful. No, we're still in the same place. We're in the condo in Hawaii, and today our plans, no apologies necessary, worst for no. If I'm technically wrong, well, that's the worst kind of wrong. I'm hopeful the Countess is not gone forever. Just because she ran afoul of Taylor in the Facebook group is no reason to abandon talking with French people entirely. But if she did, that's her prerogative. Nothing I can do about it. And I have not yet reinstated her to the Facebook group because I haven't been yet back on Facebook. She is done. Okay, well. I mean, the thing is, it's like, it can't possibly be me. I didn't do anything to her. So there's nothing else I can say about it, really. It's not, if she's not reacting to me, that's something I did, then there's nothing I can do to fix the problem. I'm okay. Sure, I'm well. I'm up earlier today because really, Eileen? Is that really what happened? Well, I mean, what one does with their own penis while having a conversation with somebody else is their business, it would seem to me. I might be masturbating right now for all you know, and you wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, I'm not, but I might be. That's why the camera just goes down this low. If it went down, no, I'm obviously not masturbating, because if I were, you could see the tip of my dick right here. Just joking. Well, so Taylor took Matthew's side. Again, that's not me. That's not the community at large. That's a piece of drama within the community that occurred. I can't, not everybody's making her the crazy one. I more or less sided with her. I didn't say she was crazy. Did she cross some lines? Yeah, she crosses some lines sometimes, though. Um, she's crossing lines with me, but I didn't do anything about it. I just figured she was fussy. Matthew is Matthew. Matthew Alistair is this guy who lives in Connecticut who, since day one in Talking to Trans People, he's basically hit on every chick that has crossed his path. I don't know if he's really a dick. I don't think he's a dick, Eileen. He's not confident enough to be a dick. He's kind of troubled in a way. He's doing what with Can every time? Rubbing one out every time they talk? His name's Matthew Alistair. That's his name. That's not actually his real last name, though. But anyway, that's his screen name is Matthew Alistair. And it's like the guy wants a woman. He's not a bad person. He may be a little bit of a perv, but all males are pervs until they get a little older and they're a little less driven by their testosterone, I guess. I appreciate that, Eileen. Thank you. I do appreciate your information. That's helpful and information I do want to know. So thank you for sharing with me. My vacation has been incredibly restful, most of all. I've never had 6 nights sleep that were so complete as the last 6 nights sleep I've got. And Matthew's cool. The thing is, does he make some mistakes? Probably. And does he drink too much? Yeah, he's got a drinking problem. But I think he's a good person, fundamentally. And people make mistakes, I don't believe in condemning people because they make mistakes. There's some mistakes that will cause me to condemn somebody. It is possible to get door slammed by me. Chloe got door slammed by me. But you gotta really fuck up bad. You've got to fuck up probably repeatedly and be talked to repeatedly and not adjust your behavior repeatedly. So the thing is, I'm not arguing about that here. And it is the appropriate. It is absolutely not the right thing to do. Nobody's slandering anybody. Nobody's trying to condemn people. We're discussing what it means to be human and make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Chloe killed the Raw channel and got thousands and thousands of hours of content deleted. Well, I appreciate her wanting to let me know. You can let her know that I appreciate being let know. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop talking about it if I feel like talking about it. It seems like an interesting enough subject at the moment right now. Thanks. Everyone is blocked, so it's not possible. What do you mean everyone is blocked, so it's not possible? It's not possible for you to let her know that I appreciate her letting me know? I mean, she obviously told you to let me know, so how is it not possible for you to relay that message back? Including yourself. Okay, well, fine. If she wants to get a message out and not receive any message in return, fine. It's her prerogative. I appreciate you telling me. Thank you, Winston's mom, when you say that I thought about how much fun I was in the doll museum. I do love to have fun. The doll museum was a big bowl of whipped cream for me. I gotta say, uh, I really, it's like I'm not always that delighted by things, but that thing was so delightful. I couldn't help but be delighted by it. I don't think I've ever been to quite such a delightful museum before. Um, in that instance, what you got was my genuine enthusiasm at the thing I was introduced to there. It's like it's not very often you hit a museum quite as compelling as the Mini Time Museum, Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. That was a compelling fucking museum, you know. So I'm not always that happy about things like that, but that place was so interesting and so funny that my genuine enthusiasm for it came through in that video. I guess I knew as soon as I was done with that video that was going to be a good video because you know I didn't have to muster any enthusiasm. It was all natural because the place was just so fucking absurd. You know, I love absurd shit like that. You moved? Really? From East? Where did you move to? That was a fun video too. Taking Officer Retta for a walk was a fun video. Um, but that's you bring up an interesting point here, Winston Bone, because the reality is uh, things are changing for me in terms of media making. Um, I really am starting to feel like I need to be more that I have a lot less of a I had a lot less of a compulsion to express just for its own sake. To show that I'm married to Rachel, even though we're not actually married. But this will prevent girls from picking up on me, presumably. Anyway, it's like I want to make videos that hit on as broad a level as possible. Like, in other words, I have a long history of making Eric videos, which is to say shit it's not really adapted for a general audience, but says if you're the kind of audience who likes this kind of thing, then you'll like this kind of thing, maybe. But and if you're not, I don't care because I'm not into practical considerations. Well, Mrs. Mama, don't get bored with the validation and affirmation. I appreciate it. It's like there really aren't that many people who, yeah, I still, it's one of my projects. It's in the back burner. Ethan McDonald, how many times are you going to ask me this question? Why don't you accept the answers that I've given you like 5 times already now? And if you really, really want to be sure what type you are, Ethan McDonald, you can always pay me $100 to type you. YouTube may be catching up or may not. I'm not sure. That's one of the things that troubles me in general is I'm still live streaming on this channel because I just don't know whether or not I just don't know well, see, this is the thing, Ethan McDonald. I wouldn't tell you things if I were to type to you. I'd ask you things. I'd resolve these things with questions. I'd follow up your answers with other questions to parse it out and determine whether or not what you're saying is accurate or not. It's like I wouldn't tell you the same things. I wouldn't sit there and you tell me you're saying, I don't think I'm an ESTP because of man. And I'd say, well, I think you are because man. I would say, I wouldn't say anything. I'd seek a lot of information. Thanks, Dark Phoenix. Thanks, Winston Small, about the music. That is the most important thing to me. As far as my own media production goes, I have I definitely have a valuing scale, and the things that I think are most important to me are the good pieces of music I make, and the things that are least important to me are, I guess, like, I wouldn't say the live streams are not important to me because I do tend to listen to them if it's a good live stream, and they're not all good. Some are, they're kind of hit and miss. Ethan's not bothering me. Ethan's just doing his Ethan thing. I really like Jeebus's question. Do you think that talking into a computer screen has messed with your concept of reality and human interactions? I think it's given me a reality and a style of human interaction that's conducive to my nature. I'm a very metaphysical type. I I like reality to be built of a lot of words, and live streaming in particular lets me build the reality out of words. It's like all the storylines that I continue to develop as I talk on the live stream comprise the storylines that make up my life too. It's like the difference between being able to do YouTube and not is that my storylines become concretized and no longer need to be talked out so much anymore. It's like for an ENTP, every storyline is conditional until you start getting a bunch of conditionalities built on other conditionalities, at which point certain things become functionally unconditional. That is to say, there's no way to really approach the story from a contrary angle without creating a lot of TI conflict. And live streams are greater than videos, are greater than past live streams. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't watch old live streams more than a day or two after I made them. Some of my old talking videos, I think, have a lot more pop to them than others. It's a wide range of quality in my uploaded videos as opposed to live streams. There's a wide range of quality in my live streams. There's a wide range of quality in my music, in fact. And that's kind of a challenge because it's like, if I want to be successful as a musician, there's an NI component to it too, which is, it's like, even if you've got an album's worth of brilliant shit, if it's mixed up within a bunch of less brilliant shit, then it's difficult to present yourself as somebody who's like a genius or something, because people can always point to your juvenilia as crap. Guess who someone might be? I do have friends who are professional musicians, but I think Carl Jung and synchronicity introduced us to each other. I can TE your music. Well, I am a very musical person in general. My tonality, my vocal tones, the way I talk, I'm very auditory. I'm not a visual person. And so that means I'm all about words. I'm all about music. And, it's like, I can't visualize shit, but a lot of times when I'm sleeping or going to sleep, I'll hear whole song with multiple tracks playing in my head, so it's like I do have a good visualization ability. It's just auditorization. It's not visualization, I have one good one good skill. And fortunately, um, YouTube is very conducive to that one skill. And any DOM does start there, that one skill. And any DOM does start there. Well, I'll just produce a bunch of stuff, and eventually something will be NI sound. Any DOM might start there. That's if they even know that NI is worth pursuing at all. I learned that from an INFJ about 20 years ago or something. The INFJ told me that that when I write something, I shouldn't toss away the things that sound familiar. I should try to keep those parts. This was like an eye-opening revelation to me, because as an NE DOM, I always thought that everything has to be different. If something sounds familiar, I need to change it to make it weirder. The Enterprise is attempting to beam me up. Well, I'm not ready to go yet, so they're gonna have to wait. What do you think about ESFP and procrastination and how it differs from NE DOM? I'm not sure about ESFPs and procrastination. ESFPs don't seem to have a particular problem with procrastination. I was talking to Rachel yesterday about that show Naked and Afraid. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with it. They take like two people, one man and one woman, and they put them out in the wilderness for like a month, just butt naked, and say, survive, you know? And I was thinking, we were talking that ESFPs are the perfect type to do that, because they've got their ignoring SI, so they can just sort of block out the discomfort of the whole thing. And they've got that SE do it shit. And then they've got that FI. So it's like the FI tool function says, I know I want to complete this challenge. I can do it. Believe it. I will follow through. I watched this episode of Naked and Afraid where I suspect it was an ESFP chick, and the dude might have been ESFP as well. I'm not sure. Might have been ISFP. I'm not sure. But the thing is, you would think it would be uncomfortable. I wouldn't last fucking 5 minutes at that thing. I would not last 5 minutes. My metabolism's too high. I couldn't go hungry for more than like 6 hours, and she's still sleeping. I'm up early because we're planning to go to the volcano today, and I'm going to try to, I guess, motivate everybody up in about 45 minutes. It's currently 8:10. If we can get out of here by like 9:30, that'll be great. How long does it take you to write a song? It really depends. The difference between writing a song and making. I've got a couple different approaches I take to songwriting. Actual pure songwriting, I write it on the guitar, and it can take me one night, or it can take me a few days, or I might not come back to the song. Where it goes. Got a story about 10 years old. Job. I wouldn't scare. I'm not into that. I'm not an SE DOM. Okay, that's ESTP shit. ESTPs don't do that shit. I don't play ha 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 scary SE joke or whatever. It's just not my style at all. She's the one who wants to go see the volcano. It's like I asked Rachel, well, what do you want to do while you're here? And she's like, not really anything except I want to go to the volcano. So we're going to try to do that today. When is Rachel moving back in with me? Not anytime really soon. I think what is going to happen is we're going to go back to Los Angeles right after this trip, and then I have one day at home, and then I have to go to Berkeley for a debate tournament. So she's going to go to Berkeley with me too, and so we're going to extend our visit here by about 5 days. But then she's going back to New York, and then I'm going to, the next time I see her will be sometime in March. And for that occasion, I'll probably try to fly her out to LA to spend a week with me, because it's a lot cheaper than me going to New York for a week, And then we'll sort of take it from there. My long-term plans are very much contingent on what happens with my mom, whether or not whether or not her situation is resolved, so to speak, which is, right now, my dad's not sure if he's going to leave her in the home indefinitely, or if we're going to take her back home after the 3 months that she's got in there, or 2 months. He bought 2 months of this place already. He can buy a third month without her being a permanent resident. After that, she becomes a permanent resident. So, and if we take her out for 3 months, then we go put her back in, then we have to go through the whole process again. So he may end up just leaving her in there indefinitely, at which point I'll be liberated from my sonly duties. But even then, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. I don't have a full-time job right now. I should probably get one, or I might try to avoid that. If I do try to avoid that, then that would require me to seek and successfully access family money that, in theory, I could access, but also which, it's always kind of tricky dealing with my dad on those kind of things. He's an ESTJ, and he basically believes that, I should, I don't know, 50-year-old man, I should support myself and stuff, which is fine. I respect that, but I don't really want to, Does that make me lazy or something? Probably. I don't know. I like to play. I'm a player. Not a sexual player. Not like a, hate the game, don't hate the player kind of player, but I want to finish answering your question though, Eileen. I haven't quite finished answering it, but you go ahead and go if you want to go. So anyway, that song, Feet Upon the Future of the Young, took me one night to write it. I walked around the streets of Laverne with my guitar in the middle of the night. By the time I got back to the house, I had it basically all written, except for the words. And I had some of the words written, but I started writing it all down. And so that's a satisfying songwriting experience for me, because I was able to get it all done in one shot. I don't like it when I can't get it all done in one shot. That's frustrating to me, because then I don't know if I'm going to come back to it and finish it. Usually I do if it's worth it, but I've got a lot of half-written songs that I didn't go back to, and it's probably because I don't think they're really worth finishing. Does my philosophy knowledge come primarily from your dad, your debate experience, or something else? Mostly my debate experience. My original base of knowledge came from my dad, who, as some of you may recall, has a PhD in philosophy. You might say, Eric, why in the world would an ESTJ get a PhD in philosophy? He's a smart guy, He's smart as far as it goes. He's very smart, and also he's bipolar, which can be, it's just like, yeah, Dad, come on now. What's my opinion of Sarah Silverman? Probably an ENFP. I think she's funny. I like her, but her politics are terrible, and she's very into them. It's like, that's very ENFP-ish. But yeah, my philosophy knowledge, I guess, comes more from my debate experience, because even when I was fairly little as a kid, my dad would talk to me about philosophy stuff, right? But he'd like relate to me. My dad has a PhD in philosophy. My dad definitely does have a PhD in philosophy. No, I do think I should support myself, Jeeves. I'm just saying, to the extent that I can get away with not doing so, I will. No, my father's not an ISTJ. He's definitely an ESTJ. But my dad's a special ESTJ, for sure. He's a very bright man. And he got into philosophy mostly because he was an atheist. And he was raised in a very non-atheist community and non-atheist world. And he saw philosophy as supporting his position of atheism, I think, mostly. And so that's probably why he got into philosophy. But when I'd ask him questions about things, he wouldn't ever have any answers, really. I'd say, the thing is, he never worked in a field where his doctorate in philosophy was necessary. But he did work at a job where having a doctorate raised him to the maximal pay level, regardless of what the doctorate was in. So you can see the practical benefits of having a doctorate, and the fact that it was in philosophy didn't make any difference as to what he got his PhD in, because the county paid a certain pay grade for PhDs regardless. No, I'm not on any kind of disability assistance right now. I'm making a decent amount of money from my clients that I work for all the time in debate, and I get some money from my dad for helping out with my mom, and I have free rent, and it's easy squeezy. The thing is, Jeebus, you got to remember, I am almost 50 years old, and from the ages of, I had a child at 28 or something, and I worked like 60 hours a week from then until I was about 42, 43 or something. Even prior to that, I was working hard. Once I finished college, I was working very much full time, more than full time, for a good 20 years. So it's not like, and I certainly could go get a full time job, no problem. I thought in fact, even of applying for the USC Assistant Director of Forensics for college debate. It does require a master's degree, but I don't have one. But I just think, well, I'll go whip anybody's ass who thinks they're going to be more well qualified than me. Yeah, don't worry about other people's perceptions about that. I've got my own unique situation. It's like, do I have access to some family estate money? Yeah, if I need it. And that's good. But I need that kind of safety net because I'm kind of haphazard in my dealings with shit. But it's like I've already done all the shit that you're supposed to do. So I don't give a fuck what people think. I've already lived that life. I already had that whole life. I've had multiple lives now. It's like I had my life where I had a child and a wife, and we raised her together as a family. And I worked every day, and I worked like 7 days a week, 6 days a week, brought home the money, and supported the family, and did all that shit. I did that already. And it was when that fell apart and that wife left that I ceased caring very much about the formal expectations of the world. I am me, an individual living in my own universe, like everybody is. And if other people think it's unfair that I have certain advantages or whatever, so be it. It's not like I haven't done the legwork that everybody has to do at some point in life. I have done that. I did that for years and years. I simply want more smiles, some fun, creative, quirky, interesting people to talk to. Still want to learn things. I understand what Winston's mom. That doesn't mean that I'm independently empowered to retire now. I'm not. I don't have that kind of, money put away, resources put away, or whatever. And it's partially probably because I've always known that when it comes down to it, I've got a family that takes care of me. And it's a very small family. There are 3 fully functioning members of my family, my immediate family. Me, Delilah, and my dad. And that's it. 4 members of my family total, my immediate biological family. Me, Delilah, my dad, and my mom. And that's it. I was an only child. Delilah was an only child. and my dad's an ESTJ. ESTJs, they really are all about family. Like, family is hugely important to my dad, but unfortunately for him, kind of, he doesn't have much of a family to be the patriarch over. He only got a couple of people. So, you know, has knowing that I'll be safe because I got a backup of family money impacted the way I live? Yeah, almost certainly it has. Has it made me? It's made me freer, less burdened by worry, and there is something unfair about that. But I can't be or live any other life than the one I am and the person I am and the way I live. And I don't need to impress anybody. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's like somebody, are you living off of your dad right now? Yep, more or less. Why? Is that a problem? Are you asking me that so you can congratulate me? Because it seems like score, right? But other people want to FE shame me or something. Fuck off. You can't FE shame me on that shit. I don't give a fuck. It's like, as fucking if. Like, people's little social perceptions don't matter. Not that much. That's real-time FE, which is only an instrumental value for me. Its absolute value is metaphysical FE. As long as people don't win those arguments in the public sphere across the board, then it doesn't really matter, Winston's mom set herself up early, paid for everything up front, and now I'm secure, not wealthy anymore, but secure. I do want fun money to travel, but I'm home now. We need a village, for sure. People can make life so easy by pooling their resources, paying back to the community of choice, and not looking backwards, only forwards day by day. It's funny, we had an ENFJ MC at the luau last night. I could just tell, right? She's just such an ENFJ. And she's doing her ENFJ aloha and telling about like Hawaiian history and stuff. And at one point in the evening, she said that King Kamehameha taught the Hawaiian people the most important lesson that anyone can ever learn: to release, to just let go of the past. And I was just like, oh no, I can't believe I didn't film that. Because I was filming periodically throughout the whole thing, like a minute of beat dancers and a minute of this person singing and a minute of that, just so I could sort of have little clips to compile into a video about the whole trip as a whole. And it's like, I knew that chick was ENFJ. And then she actually fucking said the textbook ENFJ shit, which is, you just got to release and let the past go. Most important lesson in life. It was such a validation of my typology instincts that I've just kicked myself from the moment she said that till the end of the luau that I hadn't gotten that on film. Delilah was kind of hilarious last night with her ESTP ways. She just like immediately started talking to and making friends with the couple that was at our table with us. And then the end of the luau, she was talking to the guy from that couple who was like an ESFJ dude. Delilah typed him as ESFJ, and I think she was right. Anyway, she made good friends with. They're from Toronto. This guy, ESFJ guy, this very quiet chick he was with, who Rachel suggested was probably an INFP. She went so invisible on me. I totally forgot about her. It's like she didn't say anything, so I just sort of. She was like she disappeared, but she was there the whole time. But I just forgot all about her. Anyway, Danny is kind of the same as her. Danny's very quiet. She's ISFJ. I mean, he's ISFJ, which is a good match for Delilah. I think these two might be together for quite some time. We didn't talk to them about personality type at all. I say something to Rachel or Delilah lean over and say something to me. It was kind of, it's like there's a lot of music and stuff in the background, so you could basically talk to one person by facing them and talking to them, and you could be heard and understood. But if you couldn't really talk to the whole table, it's just a little bit too much background noise. And I don't think I didn't hear all of Delilah's conversation with him. She was talking to that guy for the whole luau, just and of course she and Danny and that couple were all drinking. And the thing about a luau, the reason it costs like $100 a person is because it comes with all the free alcohol you can drink, and you can just keep going back to that bar and order Mai Tais and Blue Hawaiis and whatever indefinitely, and they just keep serving it to you. So for me, it's not a good deal to take me to a luau because I don't drink any alcohol. Rachel didn't drink any alcohol either. So the luau definitely made their money on me and Rachel, whereas Delilah made a concerted effort to break even at least. Even my dad put back a few, and Danny switched to water before Delilah did. But she's an ESTP, so what do you expect? I like to see her, and I tell you, there's no other person in the world that I am more satisfied by playing the introvert role with than Delilah. Any other extrovert like that who's kind of seizing the central extrovert role is probably a situation where I will withdraw from it because I see that the niche I might normally feel is taken, or where I think like, this is going to be a challenge or something like that, or I don't like this person, they're too extroverted or something like that. But with Delilah, I just like to sit back and watch her operate. And it's funny because it's not like she's smooth, but this is the thing about ESTPs. They don't have to be smooth to go make much friends because they just do. They just do shit, Delilah's Effie is good in the sense that she's warm and engaging, but it's she can be a little much sometimes with the extroversion. But it doesn't matter because people can tell that she's well, it's the same sort of thing that Winston's mom talked about with the museum. When a person displays genuine enthusiasm and seems like they're really getting a kick out of something, everybody likes that. Everybody likes it. People tend to be fairly jaded. I can be jaded sometimes. And there's something very refreshing about a non-jaded extrovert who's just it's great. I could listen to Delilah do her thing all day long, and it just makes me smile because we got more weed yesterday from this guy on the street. Yesterday I went to the weed store here thinking, I talked to some people and they're like, oh, there's a weed store right there. It's fucking CBD weed. And it's like, it barely gets you high at all. So I said, okay, fuck that. At least it was cheap. I only spent $25 on 3 pre-rolls at the CBD store before I realized that, no, this is bullshit. There's no reason to even smoke this shit. I went back down to the town and got some more Mexican bud from somebody wandering around. And we brought that back in. That's actually quite stony. In fact, I could probably go out and pull a few bowls right now. It's I get very tired of people wandering around with people who complain about the price of a burger, get stressed in traffic, ordinary boring lives, and when I see you bounce into a place like I want to. I mean, I have no patience for complaining either. Complaining is like fucking cancer. If you have a complaint, fine, no problem. You should go ahead and have a complaint, but make it a complaint that can be solved easily enough, or otherwise there's no point in complaining about it, Complainers make me go, yeah. Delilah, did you have a good time at the luau last time?
Yeah, I did. But I had a dream that you made a deal with the devil for immortality.
Really?
Yes.
Did I successfully make that deal?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was possible. Well, good news. I haven't made any such deal.
I know, it's a scary dream.
No, I would not make such a deal. It doesn't. I won't make any deals with the devil.
No, I know.
I am opposed to that shit.
Yeah.
I am not a moral rogue for this.
Yeah, it was a scary nightmare. I was glad when I woke up. Normally, when I have nightmares, I realize that I'm dreaming, but I didn't. I was scared, and then I woke up, and then I was like, "Oh, you're good." But I do have to ask you for a favor, though.
What's that?
When you guys go to the volcano, can you drop us off at the store?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. Do you know when that's gonna be or not?
It's now 8:30.
Yeah.
I'll probably get up Rachel at 9. I'm gonna go smoke some bowls right now.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Hi, baby. So yeah, this weed that I got from this guy in the street yesterday, it totally reminds me of weed I used to get as a teenager, which was like weed. Sometimes it even smell like diesel fade. They'd put it in like they pack it into a gas tank of a truck or something to get it over the border, I guess. And this doesn't smell like fuel at all, but it does smoke like Mexican weed. Which is to say, it's actually pretty stony, but it's a little headachy maybe, but it's still a lot better than the CBD weed that I got at the store, which was just a waste of my time and money. Blue plaid boxers. Yes, these are blue plaid boxers. It's true. They're actually blue and green and red. They've got different kinds of stripes on them. See, different colors. I also have them on backwards. The P slit is in the back, which I guess is convenient if I have to poop. I could try pooping out the P slit. I'm pretty sure I get poop on my underwear if I did that. Hi, Richello. Also, personally, I like this bong too. I will say this about these plastic bongs. They work fine, but they're not really properly airtight. So it's like you can't really, like if this gets clogged, I'll still be able to pull a little bit of air through. But yeah, it's a good bong. And Sergei Rachmaninoff. You're currently reading Vonnegut. The way he writes reminds me of how you talk. I went through a Vonnegut phase where I read a bunch of Vonnegut. And probably an INTP, I would guess Vonnegut is. Do you eat a lot? Do I eat a lot? Is that what you're trying to say there, Rebecca? Eat a lot? Do I eat a lot? Yeah, I do eat a lot. I eat more than like I always eat more than any of the women I've ever been with, even though the women I've been with have always been thicker than me, you know. Not always. My very first girlfriend was quite a small woman, a little Korean girl. She was like, when I first started going out with her, she was less than 100 pounds. She was like 98 pounds or something. That was kind of fun. That was, yeah, she was cool. I liked her. He can't be IHB because Chase typed him as that. You know, even blind squirrel occasionally. I think he probably is IHB. it's true that it doesn't matter how much I eat, I cannot gain weight because my metabolism is very high. Nah, I won't get any strikes on that anymore.
Your dad must know if we're still going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Dad. Yeah, we are still planning on going. I was hoping to get Rachel out of here and me out of here and I could drop Delilah and Danny by the store, and then I was hoping to get to your place by about 9:30. Would that be okay? No, they're not going with us, but they want me to drop them off at the store on the way out. No, they won't. They will Uber back here to the condo. They are not going with us. No. I'm going to drop them off at the store. No, they're gonna Uber back. They're going to Uber back. They're gonna call Uber. Yeah, it's the verb now, right? Exactly. It's like taking a taxi, kind of. Correct. Well, we'll get you about 9:30. Okay, I'll drive up the ramp. I'll drive up the big ramp. Okay, will do. Right. All right, bye. Winston's mom, that is very interesting. What you say here, Vonnegut plotted stories on a vertical GI axis, good or ill fortunes, of the main character, and a horizontal BE axis, which represented the course arc of the story from beginning to end. Interesting. It's time and purpose, right? Time and purpose are the two vectors of human existence. This is not coffee. I cannot drink this cup full of weed. I can go get my coffee from inside, though. I could just go back inside, too, because Rachel probably wants to pull some bowls. So, like, there's people don't have an inner monologue. They don't hear words in their head. This is me. I can't hear words. Do you have an inner monologue? I talk out loud. Yeah, of course I have an inner monologue. I do nothing but talk in my head all the time. It's the only difference between me talking out loud and my inner monologue is my inner monologue is filled with nubs, which is to say I don't really complete thoughts when I'm thinking in my own head. I just go, reference dot package A? Reference dot package B? I wonder if see? It's kind of like that. You know, what was I thinking about yesterday when we were driving and I was silent? You know, like one thing I'll do is I'll go back over in my head the narratives I have about my current relationship with Rachel, which is basically like going, so, okay, right. This does seem to be working out just fine. There are these factors and these factors, and man, and I guess, yeah, it's like basically I'm saying, here's the story you're telling. Now let's do the unpleasant work of checking to see if reality is actually conforming to it. Hey, it seems like it is conforming to it. That's pretty nice. I guess this is how it is. You know, because like there's always that. There's the story I'm telling, and then there's the extent to which reality is conforming with it. And the challenging thing is there's a strategy which is don't check reality to see if it's conforming. and that increases the likelihood that it will conform. So it's a tricky line to walk. You got to kind of straddle that and go, all right, I'm going to check. I'm not going to check. I could use that as a TI polar test. I would suggest it's more likely NE polar than TI polar. I think the location of NE in the stack is most likely to have a direct link to the amount of inner monologue one has, just because NE is fundamentally talking, and inner monologue is just talking to yourself in your head, talking to yourself silently. I would guess it's sort of maximally realized with NE in the tool function. Stacking the knees and straddling bees. Stacking the knees helps. Yeah, that must be your inner monologue. That's the thing about inner monologue is you don't have to explain anything to yourself, right? So that's why it's full of nubs, because you already know in vector H where the extent to which Enneagram can explain diversity within a type without simply becoming a special pleading get out of free jail card, and why it's not just that, and why it's okay, but also the limits to which I should incorporate it and explain things because of the extent to which it's TI indefensible or defensible, and I can't use it to justify things that otherwise would invalidate it. Like this whole package of thinking that I've already done about how to integrate Enneagram and cognitive functions together, and what's safe claims to make and which ones are not safe. I don't have to think all that out again. It's already been thought out. So it's like I can just sort of rest it in my head. I know that I'm not going to say yeah. I don't. If you ask me to articulate why I'm not going to say yeah, it's because of narrative package H, which is full of all kinds of words. But I don't normally ever have to go re-articulate those arguments to myself. That's SI shit, you know? I like when my inner monologue appears and you turn it into NE candy. Skittles meets payday candy and nuts. What else do we need? Payday, I don't think you would probably call a bar or just merely payday. It comprises peanuts and some sort of goo that sticks the peanuts together. Good candy bar, or an underappreciated candy bar for sure. But I would say not one I'd likely to purchase over a Heath bar, which I prefer, or even, I don't know if they even exist anymore, but they once did, the Score bar. The Score, SKOR with 2 dots over the O. If an ISXP hears voices in their head, does that mean they have schizophrenia? No, I mean, the thing is, having an inner monologue doesn't mean you're hearing voices in your head. It's like, my inner monologue isn't voices in my head, it's words in my head. That's different. It's not like written words either. I guess it has a vocalization to it of sorts, but it's not exactly audible in any meaningful sense. If thoughts are formed in our minds, does that make them a beautiful glass figure that is then presented to the world by the magma of our words? I would say no. I like the question though. The reason I would say no is that it's only an extroverted intuitor who's going to see words as inherently a presentational thing, especially an extroverted intuitor with TI or possibly an INFJ is going to think of words as things, as exclusively as things that do things in the world. For a lot of people, words are clumsy ways that attempt to express what you actually feel, which is more complicated than words can possibly contain. And for those people, they don't mean what they say. They try to say what they mean and are intermittently successful at doing so. For me, I mean what I say. What I say and what I mean are the same thing. I never, or almost never, do I encounter a situation where I go, I it's kind of like I can't really explain it. It doesn't really explain well. It's like very rarely do I encounter such a circumstance because that shit's FI. That's your own inherent feelings that are like, um, I'm writing these words to express the rich truth, the rich frothy truth of my feelings, and they'll never be adequate to express it, but they can at least point in the general direction. For a lot of people, words both. Words are both. For an INTPs realize when somebody is saying one thing but meaning something else. And a lot of times, INTPs don't recognize that. They just get confused. Sometimes I do. Like when Rebecca asked me today, do I ear a lot? I assumed she probably meant, do I eat a lot? Because the subject of metabolism had come up. And it didn't make any sense at all to say, do you ear a lot? On the other hand, if she had said, do you EER a lot, a lot, I mean, ERR a lot, I would have assumed she meant, do I make a lot of mistakes? Even though contextually, it probably would have made more sense to interpret that as another typo of eat. Any 7 and 8 is not good at picking up sarcasm, especially if they don't value FE. Well, you got to remember any 8. I don't necessarily think any 8th is not good at picking up on sarcasm. I don't think so at all. But any 7th, I would guess, is... See, it's not really I would almost say that any 3rd is more likely to be bad at picking up on certain kinds of sarcasm. It also depends whether you have FE in the mix or not. Because picking up on sarcasm is more an FE thing than it is anything else. That's a tough question to answer. I intuit when people are being dishonest. I have a hard time discerning if they're maliciously lying to me or themselves, though. That's a good distinction, Zaylen Black. I'm good at intuiting when people are effing. That's very easy for me because there's a lot of TI checkable things that can confirm that for me. In other words, the kind of claim they're making is an objective fact. And certain kinds of claims are strong correlates with that's just FE bullshit. You're just effing. You're trying to position yourself as the expert or whatever. It's perceptual dominance. It's also something that's commonly done in debate, so I have a lot of experience with it. So I'm extremely good at that. Dishonesty is another question. I can tell when somebody's trying to scam me or cheat me, almost always. And I typically feel embarrassed on their behalf. I don't really feel upset about it. I just feel embarrassed on their behalf. And I don't, of course, get scammed or cheated. But it's, it's like, I don't worry about being taken advantage of, I guess, because well, it's like, okay, ENFJ is my beneficiary type. And the one type that you would imagine kind of could successfully fool an ENTP would be an ENFJ because they've got that, they're hitting you on your 3rd slot, absolute value with their FE. It's very appealing to you. They've got NI tool function. You validate that externally with the 5th slot. That's perfect, right? Except they can't ever fool me because what happens is this. They get me walking alongside them with their FE NI. I'm happy to be walking alongside them. And they think that I'm following. And so we keep walking and they're going on reasonable steps of paths to take, right? This is a fine path to take. Sure, I'll walk alongside with you. Sure, I'll follow you. I don't care. I'll follow you down this path. And they assume that there's a certain momentum that goes following along. And then they take the left fork, which is fork I've already determined I'm not going to take before we even got there. And I go, well, see you later. I'm not going down that fork. And they go, but you were following along so well. Yeah, well, but that doesn't mean I wasn't doing my own navigational calculi the whole time. You know, of course I was. And I probably anticipated, at least as a possibility, where you ended up taking me. And I'd already determined what I was going to do when we got there. So, sorry, ENFJ. You can't really outsmart your benefactor. I can't outsmart my dad. You know, he always seems to be one step ahead of me. He's always demonstratively SEing before I have a chance to do the thing I'm going to do. Like, you know, I didn't have any opportunity to actually go show up there, you know, call him in 5 or 10 minutes and say, okay, well, we're leaving here and we're going to be there by 9:30. I didn't have any chance to do that. He called me and made me deal with it on his terms before I had a chance to do that. And that happens with everything with my dad. He's always one step ahead of me. But it's fine because he's my dad and he loves me. And, you know, there are plenty of circumstances where I have all the power and he has none, which are NI situations, but he's polar to it, so he doesn't even recognize it as such. So it doesn't matter. This still is not my coffee. I gotta go get my coffee. We'll clean up later if that's okay with you. If you're cleaning right now, thank you for cleaning those. I gotta say, I've noted you cleaning up on several occasions, and I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Yeah, I gotta say, I never really saw a whole lot of like general houseworkiness from Rachel while I lived with her. But now that we're in the condo, in which it's not like she's at my house, right? It's like we're at this place together with equal claim of ownership to it, so to speak. She's quite, you know, she regularly picks up and does dishes and stuff like that, which is nice. I try to do that shit too. Like I used to do. You know, when we lived together, I did all that shit. She didn't do any of it. So it's not like I'm saying, "Oh, good, she's doing woman work" or something. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure you don't defer once in a while. I can tell that. The thing is, it's interesting. I think a lot about my relationship, obviously, and how and why it works the way it does, and whatever else, and also other sort of narratives that are relevant but not necessarily determinative of anything. Like she lets me lead, but the way that she defers to in that capacity, the way that she defers makes me try at least to be much more to as much as possible be executing what she wants me to execute. The thing is, Rachel doesn't have very strong preferences a lot of times about that, and that comes with being, you know, my physical type. I guess I don't really have very strong preferences a lot of times either. But sometimes I do, and I don't even realize that it is a strong preference, except that it's just that's just what I want to do. That doesn't matter. Well, that's what it means to have a preference, Eric. It's what you want to do.
It's not bad to have preferences. It's also not bad to have opinions. I don't like it's. I think it's okay. So like, there's this one time that me and Jim were in the city, and this woman was interviewing us, and she came up to me and she was like, please do not say that everyone can wear anything what they want all the time. We're looking for like genuine content to use in filming. Like we need an opinion here. And it was just like, it shook me a little bit because I realized sometimes I do that, you know, like say like, you are who you are, be that person all the time. And others I'm like, why are you doing that? So opinions And preferences are, I think, part of human nature.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what those filmmakers were saying is affirm something, negate something, so that we, so we have something we're talking about. Well, that makes perfect sense to me as an EHP or an ESTP as well. They're going to, by nature, affirm something or negate something. Like Ethan McDonald's, basically, his position in addressing this stuff has been negating his extroversion. He's not really wriggling back and forth. He's challenging the notion that he's an ESTP by and large. Now, he also probably thinks that it's conditional still. Like, he's not sure, but he's arguing a position that, and he's using TI reasonable argument, which is when I read about ESTPs online, and I read type descriptions or whatever, I see meow, 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 meow. But I don't see those things in myself. So why am I not an ESTP? And when I think of introverts and extroverts I think associate with meow, 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 meow. And I don't associate myself with those. So I feel like I'm more like an introvert. So that would tend to suggest I was an ISTP, except I don't test any polar on your any polar test, Eric. Well, so there you are. You have set up a good case for you being ISTP and also provided the reason why, according to me, you can't be ISTP. If you were to successfully maintain this case throughout a full typing with me, you would, I suppose, invalidate my whole system. If that were all true. If you were, in fact, not any polar, but were in all other ways an ISTP, then there'd be a problem with the system. But it would be difficult to establish determinatively that you were an ISTP and not an ESTP because I don't have a definitive test for extrovert and introvert like that. So it would be it would be a tricky conundrum. But I would still be, I'm on the lookout for somebody who goes like, shows me in all ways that they are an ISTP, except they don't test any polar, because then I would at least have to scrap the any polar test.
So like, how likely is an ESTP likely to like actually take one of the tests?
I've typed a few of them, mostly young ones. I think if they're 18, 19, 20, they might do it. If they're in their late 20s or whatever, they probably wouldn't.
No, even past that, I feel like once they're like settled in life and like things come together, they're not gonna be questioning personality. I could see like mostly questioning, like learning about it through a teacher, because they're not seeking that out. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're seeking it out. I've definitely not talked psychology to. Only if they're in the class.
Well, it's like Taylor got into it, I think, sort of from a TE kind of angle of kind of a laws of power kind of thing.
That's cool. Oh yeah, I know that.
I hate those fucking laws of power. I hate that shit. That is the ultimate, like, taking human dynamics and making them as TE as possible. It's like, fuck that noise.
I can't get the chunks. I'll be back. I want to make some coffee.
Okay. When's his mom? I like hotels as well. I'll tell you that hotel rooms make me horny. They always do. It's like, I don't know, something about being in this new place that it just makes me, especially feel my goatish urges, one might say. I think that's a better way of saying it. I feel endowed with horns. So, anywho, and the thing is, if you are an ISTP, you become in a world where you don't where the threats are always being caught by surprise. Being caught by surprise will always be a threat to you if you are an ISTP or an ISF. Then the threats from life are always things you didn't, and as a consequence, that tends to make you fairly insular. And the odd thing about ISTPs is that they're countervaluing their SI at the same time. So it's really a strange phenomenon because they sort of on an NI level view unanticipated words as a threat, and don't really draw a lot of fine distinctions in that area in the way that they might if they were SI that was valued for their own self rather than just used in the outside world. I would never go on a cruise because I get way too seasick. If I walk within 10 feet of a boat, I start getting seasick, even if I'm still on dry land. Yeah, I think, I don't know if this is a type thing or not, but I suspect it might be that NTPs, as they get older, get more prone to motion sickness. And the reason is, of course, you hate SE being imposed upon you. And it's your 8th slot. Everybody hates their 8th slot being, I mean, ENTPs, I guess. If it should just be ENTPs, then it wouldn't be INTPs. But your 8th slot, you hate being imposed upon you. So, like, Rachel doesn't like SI being imposed upon her. For example, when we were going to bed about 9 or 9:30 the other night, I said, "Hey, you want to take your medicine now because we're going to bed early?" It puts her to sleep for medicine, you know. And she's like, "No, I take it at 10." I'm like, "Okay." I never try to impose any shit on Rachel at all. I don't want shit imposed on me either. I want everything to be discussed, you know, and agreed on. A good partnership in a romantic relationship, partners seek consensus with each other about things, and they don't seek win-loss situations. They don't like to win any more than they like to lose. There are a lot of Enneagram can be a very powerful descriptor. Enneagram Type 7 descriptions by Naranha, I think his name is, are as good a descriptions of me as I've read anywhere, really. And they're not even about my type. They're about Enneagram Type 7. But that particular guy, I think his name's Naranha. It starts with an N, and it's like a Spanish name. But, you know, it's like, well, the thing is, I don't think either 4th slot or 8th slot likes having that shit imposed on them by the outside world. So I don't like SI imposed on me either. But I also don't like, that's a big bird. But I also don't like, I really don't like SE being imposed upon me. I don't think Rachel likes SE being imposed upon her either. In fact, the one time I accidentally imposed it on her, where it was Thanksgiving when we were driving in the mountains. She practically broke up with me over it. So, you know.
Get it.
And the thing is, ultimately, it was an accident, and her NI overwhelms her SI in that regard.
Oh,
so it's like,
there's a lot of that.
The truth of the matter was, I didn't mean to do that to us.
No.
And I had some reasons why what I thought was going to happen would turn out fine, but just a bunch of, like, everything that could go wrong went wrong. So
but we made it back. Who the fuck cares? Like,
right. Well, at the end of the day, you understood that I wasn't intentionally trying to scare you or anything.
No, I was just scared, and I hate that feeling.
Right. But and I don't blame you for blaming me for it, because I was the one who took responsibility for our journey, and I was the one who led us astray. So I am responsible for it. But the thing is, the NI ultimately overwhelms her SI, and she goes, people make mistakes and whatever. And
Yeah.
SI Dom might never let go of that, you know. Except they probably wouldn't. It wouldn't bother them so much. But regardless, E7 is most correlated with EXXPs in general. Do you think Delilah's a type 7?
I think she got it in there.
I think she's got it in there too. But
I was thinking 4. You said she was a 4. Like, she's got chill. She may be 4 7.
or she might be 7-4.
She definitely could be. I
She's
don't
definitely
know.
not a 2er, and I don't think she's a
Yeah.
3.
I mean, my first guess, like, I was thinking she was a 7.
7-4, and then a 1. She's not 8,
Yeah.
and she's not 9.
No, she's not.
I think Delilah probably is 7 wing 6, 4 wing 5, 1 wing 9.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what I would guess she is. Okay, so I've pushed it as far as I can here, time-wise.
You're gonna.
It's 9:10, and I'd like to get us all out of here by about 9:25 or so. So I'm gonna have to wrap this one up. I really enjoyed this live stream. It was great fun, great satisfaction on my end. Hopefully, people out there who were participating in it enjoyed it as well, and anybody who watches it after the fact. Hopefully, you agree with me at the end of this live stream that this was an unusually good one, and choose to either comment, like, or both, or even better if you're unsubscribed. Subscribe to this fine channel. You won't regret it. Thanks for being here, everyone. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.